There's something about the process, the miniature process of painting in this scale primarily, which keeps it in control.
I'm basically staining the paper, and it has to be a very even stain. It's slow, and you have to keep the edge of the tea really sort of always in flow so that you just drip the whole edge down steadily. It's very meditative, and there's a sense of familiarity because a lot of years have gone in here.
One thing I've learned is respect for tradition and respect for patience. Because you just cannot achieve anything, like you can't achieve a painting if you don't, like you need time. Time is the key. So I can't like do a show and prepare a body of work in a year. I need 3 to 4 years. Miniature painting, comes out of book illustration, manuscript painting. It's an old art form. All the strange, piled up, stacked up perspective, interior spaces, and then suggestions of windows and doors which suggest the outside world or the spiritual world or some notion of perfection. That kind of jewel-like translucency that comes through is only because you have a discipline behind it. It takes many, many layers, at least like 10 to 20 layers of different color to build it up. And you have to be very careful because if your brush is loaded with too much water, you lift off the earlier layers of pigment also because they're not sealed. So it's practice. Sometimes, like when I'm not in practice, all the 10 years of experience doesn't mean a thing. But when we were studying in school in Pakistan, my teacher used to have us sit on the floor on white sheets, and like you had to leave your shoes outside, and everything was very precise and very clean and very minimum. And you worked on your work and you did eye exercises. You kept your work at least a foot away from your eyes, and it was very methodical. It had a very it was very ritualistic also. I feel like acquiring of miniature painting early on, for me it was painting. I was looking and understanding the formal sensibility of painting. Except I was not painting on canvas and I was painting on paper with a particular set of material. But it was all about surface, palette, form, composition, stylization, and self-expression came later. A lot of my work is deeply personal, and it's drawn out of memory. If you look at this particular border, it's called Riding the Written. And here the text becomes more like horses, or there's a suggestion of movement. And that aspect is my experience of reading the Quran, where I would read it with no particular understanding because I was a child and I could read Arabic, but I couldn't understand it. And the memory of it is this amazing visual memory where the beauty of the written word supersedes everything else. The meaning is there, but it's not just the meaning, it's the ability of the written text to take you to that other level. My whole purpose of taking on miniature painting was to break the tradition, to experiment with it, to find new ways of making meaning, to question the relevance of it. The starting point in all my work, whether it's small or it's large, actually begins as simple drawings which are done on transparent tissue paper. A lot of the images that exist in my work were happening because I was interested in subverting Hindu with Muslim and Muslim with Hindu. Having grown up as a Muslim in Pakistan, I didn't have that much information about Hindu mythology. And when I came here, I realized that these were the things which still interested me. And I was looking at the idea of the Hindu goddess. But it didn't matter how many hands it had, just the notion that it was the female body with several hands was important. But the goddess had a very specific face. And here I was stripping off the face and putting like a headdress, like the veil on top of it. And yet the veil is on top of a Hindu goddess. Not to underestimate what's behind the veil. The minute you bring the word veil into the equation, it kind of connects you to a Muslim identity or a woman's identity. And these are very loaded issues to take on because anything and everything associated with Islam is either terrorism or oppression for women.